Okay, welcome, welcome, welcome. Thanks everyone for being here. Happy equinox and also happy final day of Virgo season to all who celebrate. I'm Lila Catelier and I'm the Curator of Public Programs. Welcome to Cranbrook Art Museum. Those of you here in DeSalle Auditorium and also those joining us out in the universe. Welcome or welcome back to Academy students. May this be the mind-opening experience for the beginning of your work this season. Tunde Olaniran's made a universe along with Whatever Gets You Through the Night, selections from the Mott Warsh collection, and Tyrell Winston's A Tiger's Stripes are all on view through this weekend. Join us back here on Saturday night for a conversation between Tyrell Winston and music producer Chabe Hope, followed by a closing reception to say goodbye to these incredible exhibitions. So that's Saturday, September 24th, 6 p.m. right back here. Thank you to Adrienne Maree Brown, author, organizer, and world builder, for being the soft, calm voice in my mind for the last 5 years, which feels like both a century and yesterday. And thank you to Tunde Olaniran, lyricist, beatmaker, filmmaker, joybringer, for being the grounding force in a year where the world has literally spun faster than ever before, for me and for Cranbrook and for all of us Earthside. I have so much and absolutely nothing to add to what is sure to be a beautiful conversation. So instead of gushing, I'll do the hardest thing for my body to do and read aloud in public, leading us all in an incantation. Pleasure activism, if you don't know it. The radical gratitude spell. You are a miracle walking. I greet you with wonder. In a world which seeks to own your joy and your imagination, you have chosen to be free every day as a practice. I can never know the struggles you went through to get here, but I know you have swum upstream, and at times it has been lonely. I want you to know I honor the choices you made in solitude, and I honor the work you have done to belong. I honor your commitment to that which is larger than yourself and your journey, to love the particular container of life that is you. And here is where you'll join me in repeating what I say for the last stanza. You are enough. Your work is enough. You are needed. Your work is sacred. You are here. And I am grateful.
Hello. Is this on?
I can do anything.
Anything.
Hi, baby.
Hi.
Oh my God, I'm your biggest fan. Oh my God. I just got to watch Tunde's film. I'm really enraptured with how your brain works and your fantastical sing-songing director extravaganza fantasy mind.
Don't.
I'm just.
I need a pillow. I'm just like hide behind it.
Je suis un fan. Is that how you say it in French? Anyway, I'm a fan. And can I ask you questions about it?
Mm-mm.
No, okay.
This is just, that was it. Thank you all. What if it was like, you just get back on the plane.
I'm just
like,
like, this is awesome.
We literally just like sat you down, made you like, okay, now talk. Like, you said
I
to
know.
come talk.
Well,
Yeah.
hi, everybody.
Hi.
Did you all see the film? I mean, so I feel like how long have I known you? It's a long time.
I mean, I was trying to think back, at least 2012,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah.
Trying to think of like things that you asked me to do.
Yeah.
That were really
We've been like bouncing back and forth in this creative realm. I was telling Lila on the way here that, you know, Tunde is such a like a fertile ground to be around. Like Tunde is the kind of person who's like, oh, I'm making a video. Do you want to come do this? I'm writing can you text me and we can like make a song through.
Put on this headdress.
Yeah, just
put on this outfit.
You're like, do you wear a makeup? Can I paint your whole face? But it's also really like when you're stuck in something else and you're like, oh, I know that I'm an artist inside. And then you're around someone like Tunde, it's a constant like invitation, like, oh, that has to come out of you. It has to come out of you. But I feel like since I've known you, you really are in touch with this other realm or this other place that you're trying to tell us about. And you've written it into stories, you've written it into song, you've put it into video, and now you've made this film. So I want to ask you a little bit about how this film, like, do you feel like, okay, now other people can really see this other world? Like, does it feel like...
Or maybe like the sensation of being in those other places.
Yes.
You know, I think that's part of it. I kind of still don't know what I'm doing exactly, but I think with the process of writing this film and thinking about what is actually going to be on screen, and then what is going to be in a museum space when you walk in, I think that the idea is everything is a portal. You know, anything, any trauma, any experience, any memory, any relationship, any moment is a portal, is a chance to, like, it's neutral, it can be good or bad or neither. And whether you go through it or not, who goes with you, who doesn't come with you, who you don't let go, you know, what's on the other side, like, that was kind of this overarching like theme. But then working with Paige Wood, who co-wrote this, and
Shout out Paige.
Good Paige job. Is a boss. Paige is someone who's taught me so much. No, really, 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 Paige is like...
Snaps on Paige.
That girl. But just her asking questions about the treatment and the film, and like, what am I trying to say? It's also like dealing with specific people and specific experiences about like living in a place like Flint, which is like, it's unique.
Very unique. It's okay. I thought for 1 second in the purgatory that they were all gonna be like, unique.
What if there's a plant, someone just like pops that up?
It's really weird. I say it all the time to people, and they're like,
just out of a dead sleep.
Just like, if you don't know, then I don't want to talk to you. No offense. So Flint is so unique.
Yes, but also not, you know, in so many ways. And so, you know, living through the water crisis, being a working class, like, poor person who grew up poor, and like what that means, and also like just the constant kind of chipping away at your like ability to have feelings, your ability to feel safe, your ability to like feel power, and talking with Paige about like what mediums could that be expressed through. We thought like horror, suspense. How can you kind of examine these issues in a way that would make sense for like a specific kind of narrative? Yeah. But I love horror. I love comics. I love like people with ability. Like, that's always something I've been interested in. So again, Paige is thinking like, how can we incorporate these interests into this kind of narrative?
Yeah. I feel there's this element all the time of like, I am scared. You know, there's a fear, like, I'm scared to be in the world right now. And I feel like in your art, there's always this, like, there is something to be really afraid of, but you have, if I was to say a pattern across your work, there's a pattern of like, you need to turn and go directly into the fear.
Yeah.
And I want to know, how did you learn that that's how we're supposed to be with fear?
I don't know if I knew that. No.
How did you learn that?
The way that I learned,
is that what we need to do?
I mean, I think if I look right at the actual story, the character in the story is kind of like based on me, right?
Yes, clearly.
But
and I like that for you.
Yeah, I don't have powers. I can't, you know, make, you know, but
the blue eye like power thing, I was like, babe.
Right?
Cute.
I need the contact. I don't know. We're trying to figure it out. We're like,
but how did you do? No, don't tell me this.
Right.
Don't tell me. I just want to pretend it's real. Okay, but so how did you figure out that piece around fear?
Well, it was like the main antagonist was kind of the focus of that, and the character kind of realizing like, you're trying to make me afraid so I don't focus. Yeah. And I think that's a big part of living in a place like Flint, being in a situation like the water crisis. I think if you're constantly dealing with these emergencies, or you're constantly just like distracted and off balance. Like you can't really focus on what the real issues are.
Right.
And I'm realizing that like my mother, the people that she brought me around, like helped me always zoom out. Yeah. And
like big picture,
out of like past like desperation, past like, you know, certain things, and think like, what are the bigger things at play? Yeah. And that gave me a sense, it like grounded me, and I think it kept me feeling somewhat able to, not having no fear, but like able to continue past that.
Right, because it feels like the superpower, like you have powers, but it feels like the first power that I felt aware of is like in a situation where everyone else would be really terrified. Like if I woke up in a bill collector office, just like, I don't know how the fuck I got here and I can't get out, the levels of panic would be on 55, right? Yeah. Out of a scale of 50. Like it would be bad. But your characters, they get in touch with curiosity, and you continuously do that. You know, you're just sort of like, I'm not panicking. This is scary, but I'm not going to panic. And I really it's helpful as a guide. I'm also curious about who you cast into this. So why Leon? And then why was everyone else like this dope black sisterhood? Like, what was up with that?
Leon, I mean, I'll start with the other characters. So being in a situation where I'm like, my water is shut off, this has like happened to me plenty of times, because I like was paying one bill, couldn't afford to pay both. People have been in a situation maybe in other ways. Yeah. So you take your bill and you have like the bigger piece of paper, not the little one, and you have to go into the different line, which is like, oh, this is a line where like, you know, there's something wrong or something else is going on. So you were sitting in this zone, and I just thought like, who is in those lines with me, and who do I talk to? Yeah. And those aren't the people that are like the Rick Snyder, you know what I mean? Like you never really interact with those people. So you're talking to, so we'll get to that in a second, but like,
I was like blown away by how you did that. Okay, but
yeah, but like, it was just kind of like the imagination, or the me imagining like what would happen if we would just talk to each other. Yeah. In those real moments, you're just kind of like stressed, you know, and trying to figure things out. And even like feeling frustration in dealing with that bureaucratic kind of nature of like, you're a person that I know is not like different from me. Yes. But it just feels so oppositional, and I think that's intentional. Like I'm supposed to focus my like anger at you. Right. And trying to not do that. And so
I mean, it's one of the most brilliant strategies of capitalism, right? Yeah. Is to be like, the person you're going to interact with is going to be just like you. Yeah. And you're never going to actually see the people who are pulling the strings. Yeah. I mean, the way you did that with the sound effects, you know, like coming through where it's like everything she's saying, the mirror of like, oh, the power is actually back here. Yeah. I was like, okay, that's terrifying. But I love that she got, spoiler, freed too.
I mean, she honestly, real talk, like, the production, which could be a whole other conversation about how to produce something like this. But like, we had to make decisions in the script, and I had much more for her in the script, and we had to figure out how to condense and get a lot of emotions into a less scene. Good. Because I wanted her to like fight the antagonist, and we were just like, we don't have the budget for this many days, and like it was like 2-3 extra days.
We
like
can't afford for you to fight Ma,
right. I'm like, you mean we have money problems about the movie about money problems? They're like, yeah, we don't have the budget. I'm like, okay.
Artists, y'all understand that?
we tried to really show, and she was such an amazing, that's the other cool part, is like, these women, all, the first day we shot was on the beach. That was our first scene.
Oh, you started
together.
There.
Yeah, and so it was really, but we had been shooting for like 2 weeks, and it was like the hottest day of whatever that 2021 September, August, September.
You didn't even look sweaty or anything.
So they were of course like, oh, it's our first day, and I'm just like, like trying to just bring myself to like walk. But the one of the first things we shot is them pulling the Evelyn character, and she like, and she's a dancer, and she just translated her character. Yeah. And she's so unassuming, and was like, I hope I'm doing a good job. And then she's just like, and like, I was getting really emotional, and she just brought so much to that she ate like the short scenes we were able to have her in, and really translate and like communicate some of these broader issues, like without even.
It's just embodied.
We talked a bit. We had a few rehearsals, but she really got it.
I love that. Yeah. And then what about little Leon?
So Leon, Leon is based on a real person who we were neighbors with, and robbed me, like was very adrift, like, and kind of thankfully my mom really had this perspective where she's like, it's just something that happens. This is not like a criminal, this is just a person, and we're gonna treat them as like a young person, and don't like, we're not calling the police, we're just gonna just ask, like, where is the car? We know you stole it, show us where it is, like. And he ended up dying.
Oh, wow.
And it was really, in Flint, the gun violence is really, really bad. And to the point where you're like, you could be in class and that person could be gone like the next week or so. But the way that it happens is even, it feels very senseless, and it feels very like hard to deal with, but I think you end up going kind of numb. And even this real person was very, very numb to life. And I think me writing that character was like trying to write a different story for him, And the character, the actor who played him was really great, and he's actually a U of M student right now, Andrew Otetre, who played so many different notes, but also like brought his own energy to the role that like there was a scene where he gets snatched away in this alleyway, and I was telling him that the real person he's based on was very kind of closed down, and at one point he's like, do I ever get to show emotion? And this was like right before we shoot, and I was like, you know what? We had a whole different sequence planned for that, and I said, well, let's just have you run up to the camera, and this is your time. Now that you're alone and you feel like there's no one around, that's when you can release your emotions and really, so like, just everyone really just asked some amazing questions, and I didn't realize how quickly you could like pivot on set to get something you would never have thought like would happen in that scene. So
bring us back, like let's step back out now and think of this, because you have this whole installation, you have the music, you have the film, you have your self-directing, you like I don't know how many roles there are, but it sounds like you did every single one of multiple projects. So step back, when did you understand you needed to create this? What parts of it came first? How did you get to that?
Well, Laura is not here, but Laura Mott is Chief Curator here, and we had a conversation back in 2019, and I was trying to figure out how to do more visual art. And I just worked with an amazing artist, Ellen Rutt, who she and I did this music video, and it was such a great experience. And I was like, I want to do more. I don't know, can we kind of explore this? And me being just like an artist by myself, it's always like, please, institution, will you give me money? Like I was like, can I? When is the grant deadline? And Laura's like, we can just find some money. It's okay. And really just like let me dream bigger, which is so important, and I think more institutions should do with artists that you want to invest in or believe. Because the hoops that you jump through can really, I think, restrict and like dampen down an art practice. So like, she was like, just think big, and we'll figure out how to fund it. And that had never been a conversation I'd had. And because it was Cranbrook, we had the space, and I think my first thought was like, I'd love to do this multiple chapter narrative and bring in other artists that I love working with. And my favorite thing is to ask an artist, like, what have you been thinking about? Like, what would you like to do? And once we had that, we knew, okay, these artists would be making actual work for the film. Let's use that, let's bring that into the museum. Like, how cool would that be? But then once the story started getting written more and more, and I thought, okay, people have to go see the film in the museum. I like them, like, what is their walk to get to that, and then how does it feel coming out of that? And then I think that's where we landed on this idea of, like, when you walk through it, everywhere you look is like you see a different portal or a different, like, doorway. And
I was kind of scared that those things were
the doorway to
I was like,
the lobby.
No.
He said,
I don't like that.
but that was like, that's kind of easier said than done, but that was like the beginning idea, and then it took a year to figure out how it was going to actually happen. And Cranbrook, I know Cranbrook was stressed. I know the crowd was stressed, like, but we said, let's do it.
You're like, you told me to dream big.
I said, right. I said, Laura.
And I did. Yeah, and the music. Like, some of the songs I know, some of them I was like, oh, when is that coming out? Are you going to release a new project of this?
Yeah, so there's 2 songs that are unreleased that will be on an album out this winter. The timelines, I think COVID and the pandemic just kind of changed production timelines of everything, and I thought, I'm not going to fight it. I'm going to just let things happen when they're going to happen. But I also tried to, like, not do, like, 6 music videos. I think that is
it feels like a...
I could very easily been like, 20 hot people posed, and we're just like, and that thing that happens a lot, which is no shade to that, but like,
yeah, that's a thing.
It is, but I think during the pandemic, I also couldn't have like 40 extra people on set, and we're thinking, what else can you do? And when this narrative kind of revealed itself, we just thought, like, why not take songs that exist and use them as kind of a text to read a bit, rather than it being like a one-to-one visual, right? So some of the songs are like a little bit more unpacked, and I think my goal or my hope was to give some of them like a different kind of life. And a lot of people have been like, oh, this song.
True. It feels completely different in the context of this. So, you know, I want to know about the pleasure parts of it. Like, what do you feel like you enjoyed most in the process of creating this? Let's start there. What brought you the most joy? What were the moments of like peak pleasure?
I think writing it was really great. And then being on set and actually like talking to, it can be really intimidating. And I think especially like artists of color don't always have like the background to have like a production or technical expertise, even if they're doing a lot of like art and cultural work. So feeling really intimidated and, right, but like having a producer like Paige who had a set that was very respectful and like felt really safe, and I actually was able to like learn in real time and gain confidence in a completely different area as an artist. That just like it felt really powerful. But then working with like actors in a way and like learning their practice, and then like seeing that shot, I think that was really, really fucking fun. It was just really cool to see like how all of these conversations and, you know, Airtables and Google Sheets and all this stuff like turned into this lighting and this shot with these people. It was like the joy of like making music or like working on choreography is like something I know I'm very familiar with. And I know I can go to that to feel really great. But the filmmaking aspect was really pleasurable, and like not sure if I would have had a chance to have this experience without this like specific container for it.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I get really attached to everything I make. Like, I mean, like everything. Like if I'm playing with a kid and we build a Lego thing, I'm like, wow.
I'm keeping.
I need this. I was like, fuck you, baby. But like, so when I look at something like that, I'm like,
it's coming down Sunday,
like,
and they're like, I was like, I can't fit all this in my house. Like,
what happens? How do you, is it just like, oh, it's documented in photos, it's in the film, it's like whatever, like just how are you emotionally as an artist with that part of the. I know
No.
that little lip, babe. I'm like, yeah, not to traumatize you.
No,
just
yeah,
tell us
I'm
all the pain. Tell us how much it hurts.
Yeah.
Tell me if it hurts and what kind of tree you are.
Traumatized? Yeah. Yes.
All right.
Sorry. No. It's. I was just telling Lila, like, I can't believe it's over. It sounded really daunting. It's like, we're gonna be in a museum for how long? Like, it felt impossible. And now that it's over, a lot of the pieces, are not going to survive. I'm gonna keep a few of the keepsakes that are more portable.
The car.
Yeah, but it's also, my backup car. No, but I think it's like a performance. I think performances are amazing. I don't know. Who are other performers, like people that are on stage? Can you raise your hand if you like perform? Is anyone? Bloop, bloop.
A few.
Okay, you came up. You said me.
You're like, it's me.
Out of the shadows. Yeah. No, but like that feeling is so. It's very temporary. It's very fleeting.
Yes.
You might see a few wobbly Instagram stories about like what happened on stage, or a very kind of like one angle flat YouTube video of like, it doesn't capture the feeling, but it doesn't mean you don't do it. You just got to like do it some more. So that's maybe that's easier said than this, but like I'm kind of trying to think about it in that way to not be so traumatized.
Okay, good. I'm like, if you're not worried, then I'll stop crying. Yeah. I mean, I think that part is so important. It's actually, this was the experience, and people have had months to come through and immerse themselves in a piece of your world. Does it feel like it'll be hard to move from this back into like an album, just working in one medium space? Or, are you like, everything has to have 20 levels from now on?
I do the most. Like,
I
do the most.
You always do the most.
Yeah, so that's just my own personal
It just feels like you raised your standard of how much the most can contain.
It's really like, I mean, it's definitely like a scarcity mindset, but I always feel like everything I do is like, okay, I'll never get another chance to do it again. So I'm always like, all right, this is the last thing I do as an artist. So good, congrats. So happy about that.
I'm like that too. I'm just like, I don't know if they're gonna let me write no more. So let me just get it out.
Yeah, like that's. So that there's like having that feeling kind of somewhere in my mind. But then we're doing this show, Everything is a Portal, October 7th and 8th. Yeah. And it's going to be like a live companion that like deals with themes. The actor who plays Leon Andrews coming back for kind of a different and similar role. It's going to be really, it's just wrote a script. And I do want to talk about well, anyway, I have some questions for you, but the idea of like writing things for stage.
So you replaced me as a muse.
No.
So Leon is your new muse now. Is that what you're telling me? It's awkward to find out here.
You just see like he's wearing the headdress.
Like, so why is someone else in my headdress?
You said, what's going on?
So what we're referring to, everybody's like, what are y'all talking about? Literally years ago, Tunde made a music video. And I was in that music video, and Tunde was like, "You're my muse," and I was like, "That works for me." So anyway, I don't have to be your only muse or your forever muse.
It's so funny the way earlier you said. I feel the same way about you. I feel like Adrienne's always asked me to do something that I didn't think I could do, and it led to something really generative and like for me, and like expanding my idea of like who I am as an artist, so it's your fault. It's your fault.
I'm glad that we made this about me for a couple minutes. Now I can let it go. Yeah. But you were saying, so October 7th and 8th, you have Everything is Portal.
Yeah, and that's gonna have like an installation that one of the artists, Amy Fisher-Price, who built the fabric kind of porch, she's building something for this. Price. Yeah, it's not that Fisher-Price.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
It's weird though, huh?
It is. If you're from Michigan, Laura Mott, she's from Texas. She went to high school with Beyonce. And I just had to say the silence. You were like,
I was like, but it's not that Mott.
No. I'm sorry,
it's not that
Mott. No, I sound like Laura. That should be the first thing anyone knows about you when you like hi, I'm Laura Mott.
I went to high school with Beyonce, and I exist.
Yeah, you're welcome. No, but Laura's like, who are the Motts? Like, she's so like, I'm so sick. I know she's sick of that because they're like, you're the Mott.
The Motts.
Laura of the no relation. Sorry, that was a long digression.
The new Mott of Flint. I mean, I do feel like there's a question I think that comes up for me all the time, because when you're writing in a place like Flint and you're creating in a place like Flint, it feels like, you know, what you're uplifting in this short film and what you uplift in your music often is like, the scarcity is not in my mind when it comes to what's happening in Flint. It's like this place has actually been systematically denied, you know, human rights, basic things. And yet you persist, like you treat Flint as a place in which you continue to find inspiration and continue to create. And I know many artists at your scale, at your caliber would be like, this has been nice, I'm going to LA, or I'm going to New York, I'm going to someplace else, but you stay. And I just want to ask you about that. Like, is that like, yes, I have to stay, I want to stay, it continues to inspire me. Like, my roots are here. You know, like, what is the relationship to Flint that you feel like you have right now?
I mean, Flint is very affordable. Let's start there.
Talk about it.
I'm still a working class artist. I do not have a lot of money.
Yeah.
Okay. So like for me, being able to have a rent that's very, very low means I'm able to do things that I love and not be worried every month as much about my like $3K rent, my whatever.
That's right.
So that's that. But I also
but it's hard because it's like I don't pay much. I also don't get water sometimes.
But I mean, that could be lots of.
That's happened a lot of places. I'm like, why does this kept?
Right. So that's like one. But there is something, I think being in Flint and being near Detroit. Yeah. I think living in Detroit, I don't think I could do it. I think it's just like, it would be too much, a little too like distracting and like, there's a lot going on. Yeah. But it's always nice being like not too far from Detroit.
It's like I can pop down and get the culture and the vibes.
And then there's like, I have family in Flint, but also like Flint kind of has energy where I can feel very peaceful and like have, you know, some like nostalgic things. And so there's like a good emotional space. I'm not opposed to like living somewhere else, but it's not like a bad place to live, you know, for my like mindset. I think.
I mean, I'm all for. I feel like an advocate of artists being outside of the major places that people think of art happening.
I think that's kind of Detroit too, in some ways. That's,
I said that. I was like, I don't know that I would be where I am in my life and my career if I hadn't lived in Detroit for over a decade, right?
It just asks more of you.
Yeah, but it's like I can afford to live here, and it's asking a shit ton of me, and everyone around me is creating at the edge of having. You know, it's like we don't have anything, we're making it. You know. But
I also like. Should I? I'm trying to think of what I should say, but no. Being in Detroit, working with I don't know what I should say. No, but working in Detroit and working with like people like LA Media Conference, but also like just you and like other people have like taught me how to work with artists in a way that doesn't like make people feel like shit afterwards. And I think other cities. Sometimes I'll go be in other productions and I'm like, people don't do that everywhere. And like, I'm realizing I learned how to collaborate and be an artist in a different way that I think is actually like,
that's right,
healthier maybe? I don't know if that's the right word.
Well, it's like, it shouldn't be fun. You know, I was just working, I work on a musical.
I really want to ask you about that. I don't know if you were like cool talking about that.
I'm cool, of course, I'm obsessed. I mean, like we're obsessed with our shit, right? It's like, oh my God. Yeah. But the thing I can say about it is like just working on it and being like, oh, I'm excited for us to make stuff that sounds good, but I'm really excited for it to feel generative and to feel like after, you know, I kept telling there were like 6 singers there that we're building songs with. And it was just like a dream. I was like, can you go, you know, whatever. And they're like, and I was like,
What happened? It's there. Yeah.
I'm a songwriter. But yeah, you're not going to be able to contain. I was like, wait. I'm a songwriter, but the feeling of this should be a joy. Like one of the songs is it's got to be a joy. And it, you know, we talk about miracles and joy and just being like, it takes a lot to exist. It takes a lot to exist as an artist. It takes a lot to say, even if no one else understands what I'm trying to create or why I need to create, I'm going to create and I'm going to make that my whole fucking life and it's going to be awesome. And then you get into space and you're like, I got all this way. I'm not going to fight. I'm not going to be miserable in here. I'm not going to overwork. I'm not going to be exhausted unless I want to create all night, you know? Like, you choose to be an artist because you're like, I want to be immersed in the pleasure of creating. And then the industry, you know, like, industry can kind of creep up and be like, cute, I'll still ruin it. Yeah. No, I'm like, no, you will not.
Can we stress you out? No.
Yeah, so I think I do feel like Allied Media Projects has been such a helpful incubator for that, just being like, oh, when you work with other people, their humanity matters.
Right.
And when you work in a place, like the place matters, and you want to like leave a good imprint, you know, and a good worldview. And I think it's hard, you know, this is something else that was coming up as I was watching, is it's really hard in a place like Flint where it's like, when you were holding that bill and it was like, the bill is for everything. I was like, whoo, I feel like, I was like, that's what it feels like. It's just like, it doesn't matter. You don't have it and we're going to take it, you know? And like, that's the struggles. We don't care about your humanity.
That is such a, I mean, I really want to ask you more about your musical and like.
We can go there
I
later,
do.
But I want you to talk about this.
Yeah.
I'm in charge.
Oh, okay. So, no, I mean, well, the thing that I am really proud of is like any project I work on, like pretty much any time we do it, it's like people say this is the best thing I've worked on, and and it's like that is because of the practice you were raised in. And it's like it's not that we had the biggest budget, it's not that but we made sure you felt good through the process, you know, and you're proud of like what we did at the end of it. But I really want to ask you, because I think I'm back in the mindset of working on this show, and I have like more dancers and just like seeing people come together for this.
Can we just talk about the choreography? Your choreography, I love watching you move. I really love watching how you move. It's so distinct. It's so graceful. It's so precious. There's a preciousness to how you move that is really beautiful. I just wanted to say that. I loved how the choreography played out here. I love the times when you let it just be you versus, you know, bringing in other, because I feel like you often do the big stage and like mini dancers, and still I can't take my eyes off of you and how you're choosing to move. It's true. I mean, like I think it's a every time I'm just like, this is such a powerful move for you to be like, bitch, you're gonna watch me move and I'm gonna direct myself now dancing, and I choreographed it and I'm gorgeous. Anyway, so you were saying, so you're doing that for a new show?
I mean, well, to that end, also the pandemic hit in the middle of like right before we started, and so it's like I can't have 30 dancers. Yeah. And also like and then I spent a year feeling trapped in my home, It's like, so it's like I wanted to write a more insular feeling story. So that's part of why.
Yeah, like so many of the spaces, it felt like you were dancing in a way that was like, my hand is almost to the wall on this side, and you know, it's like everything is enclosed. It was really brilliant.
But
anyway.
No, I'm not as good of a facilitator, so I'm just gonna like
you just have to
roughly
go.
To like. So this musical.
That's not a pivot.
We want to
talk about your dancers.
Oh yeah. So dancers are so much like singers. And speaking of singers, have you know? But like really like having an idea and feeling. I don't know if you've experienced this, but like I usually have like 2 dancers. We work on stuff. Yeah. This is like we have more for this show. Mm-hmm. And
how many more?
There's like 6, 7 now.
Nice. Okay.
And it like they fill the space and it's really cool. But I also feel like I'm not a trained dancer, and I always like I had this like insecurity of like, is this boring? You know, but then seeing
it's more likely to be boring if you were trained, probably.
Maybe. But like coming with an idea and like feeling unsure, but then also like their movement and their bodies like inspire the idea. I'm wondering if you're having a similar experience, like hearing these voices in harmony is like, then I want to hear as opposed to, you know.
So I think so. I mean, I'm curious about this because the thing that I've got in my head, and I think this is why I'm like, it so inspires me to see like, oh, you built out an album and this and this and this and this. Because I'm like, the thing that's in my head shows up like, oh, here's a little song. And I can see people dancing to it. And I am like, there's stuff that the way the song sounds, I'm like, that's 300 voices. I can sing one of them into the little voice memo on my phone. And like my voice memos sometimes sound like, here's one version, and then there's this other version, and there's this other version. Yeah. And the people I'm building songs with, I was just playing that for them, and then they're like, okay, this actually lays on top of this, and this lays on top of that. And I was like,
you don't say.
Oh, wow. Can 300 people sing it? Yes. Okay. And now I'm here. I see the dancing. Yeah. So I'm like, I don't even know how to describe all of it. I don't know what the moves are called or anything. But I'm learning to not let that get in the way, right? Yeah. Because it's like, I still see it. So whatever the gift of this thing is has been given to me. And I like this process. Like last week, it was just like, whatever you're going to do with it is different from what I would do with it. And it's not better or worse. It's just like, oh, that's amazing. Like the biodiversity of the creation comes out, you know, and that.
I'm sorry.
I'm going to have 300 singers. So for the first one, I had 6 people building, and then we're going to put it on in New York, and it's going to be like maybe 20, 25. And then we might go to Holland, and who knows? But Anthony was like, you want to come to Holland? I was like, bitch, yes. I'm going to be high and do my musical. So.
But are you performing in it?
No. So actually, I was telling Lila on the way here, one of the things I love about you is you're such a consummate performer. Like you're just like, I remember coming to see you in the Flint Library.
Oh my God.
Do you remember that? So Tunde is in the library, and somehow it's a library, and Tunde was like, you're still gonna give me a stage. There's still gonna be a smoke machine. I'm still gonna have like my dancers. There was still somehow a backstage in the like we were in the books, like change outfits, like do the whole thing. And I was just like, this would never occur to me. Like I would just be like, I'm gonna sit and talk to you in a library, in a librarian-like way, you know? Like, I'm like, I'll adapt to the place. You're like, the place is going to adapt to me. I'm a performer. And so what I've been taking the performance pressure off, because I'm like, I love to sing in the studio. I love to sing in my little Instagrams. You put me on a stage, and I'm like, oh, I can't sing. You know, like, it doesn't happen. But the singers were pulling it out of me, because I would have to sing to show them the parts. And they're like, I bet you do sing. And I was like,
I feel
anyway,
like we're like not us workshopping. I'm just this
yeah.
Is the side,
I think the performance is going to be like I just turned 44, and I think by the time I'm 50, that's going to be my I'll be like, okay, now all these parts are in order, and now I can stand on the stage.
Off your Tony.
Yeah, and it also might be like I'm just more of an Adele, you know, like I'm just gonna or Mariah. We got here. Okay, so on Twitter the other day, Tunde posted this incredible historic video of Mariah Carey's incredible choreography on Heartbreaker.
Heartbreaker, yeah.
Which I still think is something. I mean, she's just
pop.
It's just the bare minimum. It's
unironically, queen of choreo.
Yes.
Because choreo has to look fun.
It has to look fun.
And Mariah is having fun.
Yep.
And she has swag,
Does she?
Yes, she has
a little
swag.
tiny.
She has her own. It's like, no, wait, this is my thing.
Yeah.
I think Posh and Scary were the best dancers in the Spice Girls. And I know this is it might be.
No.
But
I'm
Posh had the swag. She was stiff, but the way she delivered the choreo, it was her own little seasoning. And then Scary just had the right, had understood her body and knew how to move.
Yeah. I feel like Mariah Carey dances I'm not gonna sweat. So I just want you to create a way that I can
everyone can do it, but she also writes music that you can hum. You can't do, but you can hum along, and it's very melodic. And I think her choreo is the same way. It's you're not hitting an Alicia Keys note or a Whitney note. Mariah, she's a great singer, but she writes things that are lullaby, very kids could sing.
She made a choice.
Yeah.
She made a choice. She made a choice because she had all the octaves to work with, and she was like, this is not, I was not born into my Marian Anderson period of life. I was born into Janet Jackson, Madonna, Paula Abdul. These are my contemporaries. I'm going to go hip hop. Yeah, it was a choice. But then anyway, so if you see Mariah Carey perform now, I know this is what y'all came for, is you wanted to hear about this Mariah Carey. If you see Mariah Carey perform now, you're going to get, she's going to basically stand in place, and she's going to give you a little shoulder and a little what. I could do that, right? Yeah. I could do that, so I'm building towards that. But for the musical,
can I be your guest? I want to choreograph. I want to be a guest choreographer moment, just something.
Really?
But I feel like with this show, you
I'll
could just
do.
You could do a little excerpt, because you got to have something online for people to see, and you could do a little 1 minute thing, and we can just be
okay.
We'll
You've talked me into it.
Okay, cool.
I mean, because I do think that, huh? Okay.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, we'll send it over to, it'll be Cranbrook incubated. So maybe we'll film it here and you have to put the whole set back. So, I mean, I think that, I also feel there's something for me about, like in some ways we have an oppositional force in this, right? In the same way that you're like, I'm putting myself in the center. You're gonna look at me to see what I'm seeing. My thing is I'm like, I'm like creating, but I'm trying to constantly pull myself out of it. I'm like, no, don't look at me. Look at the stars. Look at this thing. Look at whatever. But it has the same effect in a way. Like I always feel so loved. Like I watch your work and I'm like, oh, I feel so loved by this. Like you wanted me to know that there's a magic realm out there and that I'll survive if I go through it, which is what I also want people to know through my work, because I'm like, you're gonna be okay. You're gonna be okay.
And your work has informed me, like knowing that, obviously, like for myself.
I saw you reading pleasure activism
I know.
in the movie. I love that.
I was like, that has to be what the book am I gonna have? So yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry that your reading got interrupted by the monsters, but you can always go back. So is there anything that I didn't ask you about that you're like, I want to pontificate on this. I want to go off about this aspect of my creative process?
I mean, I'm sure tonight at like 11, I'll wake up and be like, I wanted to. But
like,
right now,
something.
my mind's just like happy, blank. No, not just here like bonk, bonk, bonk. Like I don't hear a lot going on in my head. Just like, yeah.
So can we ask them if they have questions now?
I know Lila had a really good question, but I don't know if it's time for that.
You can go first, Lila.
I like to set it off. What I'm also going to do is okay. I'm going to ask the first question, and then I'm going to say the answer to this question. The next person who asks the question also has to have an opinion about this.
Ooh, I think I see where you're going.
Okay, I would like each of you to tell us what your favorite track on Renaissance is. And then only raise your hand if you have a favorite track on Renaissance for just this one question, and then we'll move on to the next one. You don't have to after that.
Well, one thing I just want to say first is because of the brilliant transitions and the way this thing was. Oh my God, is that one of the stars from your film?
Oh my God, Ash! Ash! Give it up for Ash. Oh,
you were so good. Well, you did a great job. I love you. Bye. Wow. Are there more hidden?
I don't know.
Okay. I was like, that was.
I don't have my glasses.
I was like, did you do that on purpose?
Yeah, I'm all.
Okay.
No,
I don't listen to it as like a thing that has tracks. Like I've listened to the whole album over and over again nonstop. So I just want to say that. And I've gone through many phases of favorites, but I would say currently Heated is the one that like I can get stuck in a heated loop for a very long time and literally need to fan myself off. And yeah, and that what she does at the end of that, I wonder where she, like I want to see the video of her in the studio just like, ka-ka! Like I was just like, what happened? Like, was there a coach there who was like, and he go, yada, 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 like, you know, or was she just like, this is in me, you know? So that is it for me. What about for you? How many heated heads do we have? Are there other heated heads? Okay. I respect you the most.
I hope this isn't controversial.
It's not a competition.
Do I have to say heated
Every
now?
single
No.
song is perfect, so.
Your love don't get no higher than this.
No.
No. That's my.
No.
That is my
All right.
song. I love
like
that
that
song.
one also because it feels like her kid ran in the studio and she was like, no.
No.
And there's like, that's good.
America has a problem.
I also like that she says America has a problem.
It's my.
And that's the whole sentence, and there's nothing else to explain about that. You all know what she means. And then she's like, now the booty gonna do what
The
it wants to.
problem
Let's get
is
to
that it's gonna. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I also want to say, while we're on this topic, just before we move on, that I'm annoyed that people keep asking for visuals. Like, people keep being like, where are the visuals? I'm waiting for the visuals. Like, what the fuck? And I'm like, when someone is as prolific as she is and has given you so much, you should just be so grateful.
Just close your eyes and you can
and make your own
imagine it.
visuals. The people who I'm most impressed with are the ones who are like, I'll just make a video for this. There's some incredible videos that humans are making, and I think she did that on purpose.
You know where I think the videos are? Which planet had the ring? Was that Pluto or Neptune?
What? Oh, like the
I feel
people
like that's
were like
where
trying
I feel like if you like zoomed in enough, that's where all the visuals are playing. It looks. I was like, I feel like the visuals are there. I can see it. Yeah, it's like. I feel it, yeah.
If anyone could do it, it would be her. She'd be like, played you. They've been out the whole time. All right. Your love don't get no higher than this.
Hello. I love you both so much.
Oh my God.
So thrilled to be here with you.
I like your colors.
Thank you. I wore this.
You
for
knew this. You're like, I know. I feel so loved.
My favorite track at this moment is Plastic Off the Sofa.
I mean, you can't go wrong.
It's because it's Sid and the internet. That's why. That's the kind of music that I love the most.
Yeah.
So that's my favorite one.
Yeah, and the vocals on that are just some other realm. So.
The best. Amazing. The question that I had before we got here was hopefully partially answered by you, which is, when's the collab coming? That's what I want to know. We got the songwriter, we got the performer, so if the choreo collab happens, that would be fabulous. But that's my question, collab.
Our whole life is a collab.
Well, I would say we're deep in collab. You know, like I've been in, I think, 2 or 3 of your music videos.
You wrote Symbol, co-wrote Symbol on my last album.
Yeah.
I was in your
Yes.
anthology.
You did the Octavia's Brood opening.
Yeah.
But I do think that there's an album in our future, and we'll figure it out. Can we just make an album?
I would love that.
Yeah. So.
Okay, this is recorded, right? Okay.
I told the internet. So I think we should do an album. I think we should do a really
would
fun,
love that.
cute little.
I would love
a little bop. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. All right. Anyone else? Questions about Tunde's brilliance or anything else?
Hi.
Hi.
I was just wondering, like, logistically, like, which part of the film was the hardest to shoot?
Me just like being transported back. The hardest to shoot, just like scanning through all of the
I was like, when was
the
it?
different
All the
days.
furniture lifted off the ground?
Probably like the fabric porch thing was a little challenging. Just to get to figure out what we were actually doing, because like it was built so close to filming, and so not knowing the mechanics of it until we were on set was kind of a challenge. But then everything else was really, that's a really good sign that like I don't have
That's
a
a
memory
really good
that's like
sign.
this was so, I mean the worst thing was like it was like 100 degrees. Oh, I was I was getting I thought I was gonna have straight hair for the film, and then it was 100 degrees and my hair was like whoop. And
I noticed the texture was unexpected.
It got more. So like, luckily, we filmed the scene was like one of the first shots, and my hair was like 3 times bigger that day, just so humid. And then I also had like I got like stung by I was the one that got injured, and
You got stung?
Paige was like, "Thankfully, you're the only one that's gonna like be the insurance risk," because I just like kept trying to like break my legs or something. So I injure myself constantly on set. I got stung. A wasp like flew in my gold costume, and when I was like leaning back, I think the wasp it had enough at that point, and it was like, I gotta get out of here.
I just gotta get out of here.
Yeah, I was like,
It's not
I thought
personal.
this was cute, but like,
What am I doing?
So I was like, what? And Paige was like,
Skin to
of course,
skin.
of course, you're the one that got stung by the wasp. Yeah, so me getting injured all the time and it being 100 degrees, like that was probably the roughest, but really great crew. Good planning. Again, Paige Wood, if you were doing anything regarding film, Paige is that girl. She's the one you want to go to. Like, she made it so that I don't have really a ton of painful memories.
That's beautiful. Wait, did you tell us your song?
I did not realize. Definitely Heated is number 1, but I feel like now it's a tie between like Move, Heated, and Energy.
Yeah, I was gonna cheat and be like, from Alien Superstar to Heated is one thing, and then there's another one. But anyway, keep going. Are there other questions?
Yeah, anybody?
We're good. You feel clear? I love you.
I love you too.
I think you're so brilliant. I can't wait to see everything else that you produce in this lifetime. It's really an honor to coexist at the same time.
I can't wait to record our album.
Oh, when we do our album, it's going to be so fun. I'm going to make you come to visit me. We can like go back and forth and do field trips. All right. You heard it here first, y'all. Thank you so much for coming out tonight. Is there anything else you have to say, like official stuff?